Chapter 11, 58, City Well, Translator, Atlas Studios, Editor, Atlas Studios. Legend has it, Renzu's fourth child, Boundless Forest Samsara, fell from the tree. She did not follow after Renzu. Instead, she was trapped inside ordinary abyss. One day when she was sleeping, she met a Miniman. The Miniman was crying. Boundless Forest Samsara asked him why. The Miniman spoke while crying. I am the tallest in my tribe, and I was brave, arrogant, and proud because of this. Today I intended to climb a mountain, but to think that this mountain was really a person. There are actually such giant people like you in the world. This is the first time I've seen someone like you, so I burst into tears. Since then, Boundless Forest Samsara and the Miniman became good friends. They were inseparable. Miniman, oh Miniman, where is your father? Do you not have siblings? Why have I never seen your family? One day, Boundless Forest Samsara asked the Miniman. The Miniman directed Boundless Forest Samsara to a well, saying, Look at this well. My former home is inside. Boundless Forest Samsara sprawled in front of the well, extending her head to look inside. Next, she shouted, Ah, there are so many Minimen. She saw that there were countless Minimen inside the well. They were living together. They built many houses. They lived among each other. There were markets, flowers. It was a harmonious scene. They were very happy. The Miniman in the well also shouted, Why did the sky become so dark? It's nighttime already? There was thunder but no rain. I don't see lightning either. The Minimen were in panic. They discussed as the entire city went into commotion. Your family is here? Why did you go outside the well? You don't want to live with them? Boundless Forest Samsara asked. The Miniman shook his head. They were the ones who exiled me. They think I am a monster. Oh? Why is that? Boundless Forest Samsara was curious. The Miniman answered with sadness. I told them that the world we were living in was just a well. The outside world is very big, but they did not believe me. They told me to stop spouting nonsense. I also told them that the mountain at the fringe of our city is a very small mountain, but they refused to believe me. They think that it is the tallest mountain in the world. They told me to stop spreading lies. Which mountain is it? Boundless Forest Samsara asked. That's Minuscule Mountain. The Miniman pointed. Boundless Forest Samsara started to giggle. You call that a mountain? It can fit in my palm. Suddenly, Boundless Forest Samsara clapped. Then let me tell them the truth. The Miniman shook his head. It is useless. Boundless Forest. Samsara did not believe him. She faced the well as she shouted. The Minimen inside started to panic even more. They felt that today was too strange. Not only did the sky turn dark, there was thunder rumbling, and it was getting louder and more frequent. Heaven is raging. I want to repent. I want to confess. No, it is a monster. A monster ate heaven. It is burping now. Save me. This world is getting destroyed. Some Minimen knelt on the ground and begged. Some had despair on their faces, while others were running around crazily. Boundless Forest. Samsara's breathing became a tornado inside the well. Boundless Forest Samsara's saliva became a huge rainstorm when it went into the well. Boundless Forest Samsara's words were like rumbling thunder in the Minimen's ears. Their eardrums almost burst from it. Boundless Forest Samsara eventually gave up. She sprawled outside the well. Exhausted, she said weakly, Why are these Minimen so stupid? Can't they be like you to get out of the well and see the world? The Miniman shook his head as he sighed. They think that they are big enough. They think the sky is round. They think the mountain is only that tall. They think life is just like this. Then why did you climb out? Boundless Forest Samsara opened her eyes wide as she asked with curiosity. The Miniman smiled bitterly. Because I realized how small and insignificant I was, therefore, I got out to see how big the world is. Fang Yuan walked in a circle around City Well. His eyes were flickering brightly. This was the third secluded domain of heaven and earth he had encountered. The first two were Donghun Mountain and Luopo Valley. In order to harm Fang Yuan, Ying Wuxi had set up a trap. It was by using City Well. But Fang Yuan took him by surprise. He obtained precious information from Liu Qingyu, and in turn, made use of City Well to kill a bunch of Eastern Sea Goo immortals instead. Like what was recorded in Boundless Forest, Samsara's breathing became a tornado, and her saliva became rain. Fang Yuan was outside the well. When he used his immortal killer move, the power was amplified by tens or hundreds of times when it entered the well. But Fang Yuan had to pay a price. His immortal essence expenditure was also tens or hundreds of times as high. Even though Fang Yuan only used 3 giant hands, the expenditure was around the same as 100 uses of it. If an uninformed person entered the bottom of City Well, they would be trapped. But once they realize their situation and know this is City Well, they would be able to escape. Like what's said, once the mini-man realized his own insignificance and wanted to see the world outside, he managed to climb out of City Well. One could say leaving City Well was both difficult and easy. Precisely so, Ying Wuxi did not use City Well to target Fang Yuan to a great extent. Firstly, he could not control his strength. What if he killed Fang Yuan? How could he find the immortal material to refine sovereign immortal fetus goo again? Secondly, Fang Yuan might immediately recognize the truth and escape with the upper extreme heavenly eagle. By then, Ying Wuxi would not stand a chance. The bigger reason was the second one. Because he was uncertain, Ying Wuxi made the City Well a trap to stall Fang Yuan instead of using it to kill him. Fang Yuan wanted to take this City Well for himself. Because this secluded domain of heaven and earth would be a huge help to him when he develops his immortal aperture. Pulling mountain immortal goo, Fang Yuan began to try. But City Well only shook slightly. Pulling mountain could pull out mountains, but City Well was not a mountain. Although it was on the ground, it needed earth chi. Strength path. Giant hand. Fang Yuan tried to dig out City Well. However, once the giant hand got close to City Well, it rapidly shrank like a burst bubble. In a few breaths' time, it was completely depleted. It seems that even though Shadow Sect has control of this secluded domain of heaven and earth, they cannot relocate it. Fang Yuan tried a few more times without success. His best attempt was the first time. The result was evident. He used Pulling Mountain Immortal Goo and managed to make City Well shake slightly. In this case, Pulling Mountain Immortal Goo is actually effective, but just Pulling Mountain alone is not enough. I need to think of an immortal killer move that can relocate this City Well. Realizing this, Fang Yuan could only give up for now. He entered the well. When he got to the bottom, his body became very small. Looting the battlefield. Only Zhou Li and Tang Song had complete corpses. Fang Yuan put them into the sovereign immortal aperture. As for the other goo immortals, they were all meat paste. The blood path demonic immortal, Ding Qi, had self-detonated, but his blood path immortal aperture was left behind. Other than him, the other goo immortals also left behind their immortal apertures. Soon the world inside the well started to stir. Heaven and earth chi burst out as blessed lands formed one by one. Fang Yuan spent a lot of time entering these blessed lands and exploring them. Forget about immortal goo. But there were quite a number of resources that were normally owned by Eastern Sea cultivators. These goo immortals were not as poor as Liu Qingyu. Most of their assets were still around. Except the blood path demonic immortal Ding Qi, even all of the resources inside his immortal aperture were destroyed. Even so, Fang Yuan was a blood path grandmaster. He had enough attainment level to annex Ding Qi's blessed land and expand the sovereign immortal aperture. Inside these blessed lands, some had land spirits. Some did not. In the blessed lands without land spirits, Fang Yuan took away all of their resources. Those with land spirits were more troublesome. They needed to acknowledge him as their master. Otherwise, Fang Yuan could not take away all of the resources inside. Of course, it was not impossible to just plunder it, but that was a short-term benefit, disregarding the long-term gains. Fang Yuan thought about it. He did not use brute force. After spending some time in the well, he left and started to modify this bubble. The bubble had a sea and an island. City Well was in the middle of the island. Because of Ying Wuxi's arrangement, Outsiders would directly end up at the bottom of the well when they went in. But Fang Yuan had Liu Qingyu's information. He did not fall for it. Instead, he used this trap to kill all the pursuers. He got rid of a lot of trouble. If Ying Wuxi knew that his arrangements not only failed to give Fang Yuan problems, they even provided huge help to him, would he spit out blood from anger? Fang Yuan preserved some of Ying Wuxi's arrangements. At the same time, he added in some of his own methods to conceal the bubble even more. Next, he left the bubble and directed the bubble to a new location. Not long ago, Ying Wuxi did the same thing. This bubble with City Well was not originally here. Ying Wuxi wanted to harm Fang Yuan. He spent a lot of time and effort to move this bubble here. Inside the current, Fang Yuan could not control where he went. He was washed away by it. Thankfully, he had the hidden room oyster. He could rest inside. Fang Yuan moved back and forth dozens of times before moving this bubble into another current. He spent more than 10 times the amount of immortal essence and time as Ying Wuxi. After completing this, Fang Yuan took a detour and went to Ying Wuxi's former camp. There, it was another island in a bubble. Fang Yuan entered deep underground, but Regret Pool was already taken apart by Ying Wuxi. Even the surrounding goo formations were gone. The tributary of the River of Time that Shadow Sect had kept here was also missing. This was the special characteristic of the turbulent flow sea area. Every current was constantly changing and moving. But with this, it is enough to befriend Miao Mingshen. Fang Yuan used his information path Mortal Goo, sending it through Treasure Yellow Heaven.